Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to talk about where I came from in terms of my weight, where I am now. So I'm going to pop up some photos right now, just to show exactly where I was. This photo was in 2021 in Brazil, December. And man, let's just say I was one of those kids who, you know the saying, you either eat to live or you live to eat. And I was definitely one who used to live to eat. I was raised in a family, Brazilian family, always cooking up good food. So, you know, I just love to eat. But I'm going to talk about some of the challenges I faced to get to the stage where I am now, some of the obstacles I faced and how I overcame them. So let's jump right in. So I've now lost 60 kilos. Back in that photo I showed you then, I was 162. So 62 kilos. I'm now 100 kilo. Still got more to go. Still got, you know, the goal is 90. So that is the goal. But it's been a long ride. Let's just say that. It's taken a long, long time. It's taken about 4 years to get to the stage where I am now. And I've got to say, it's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. Compare it to like business or anything. It's just non-stop grinding, non-stop pushing through that, you know, that mental battle of wanting to eat, feeling fatigued, drained, especially when you've got so much going on, especially when you're trying to run a business or you have a busy life schedule. So getting stressed and getting worked up about everything, essentially trying to maintain that or work past it, work around it is tough. But really, let's just start from the beginning. So let's start from why I actually drove myself to make that change. I was always a happy kid. I was always a happy kid. You know, I didn't really mind the way I was. Obviously, some days, yes, I hated it. But it never really bothered me that much because I never really got bullied or anything like that. So I was always loved, always had good friends. And I just wasn't conscious of the way I was eating. I wasn't conscious of these things. I felt like when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see what everyone else saw, if that makes sense. I was drinking all the time, smoking all the time, and I wasn't in a good place, mentally or physically. And it took a lot to get to that stage where I was like, okay, this is enough. I need to do something about it and actually lose this weight. My family always kept saying to me, Ryan, you're getting too big, you need to do something about it. Even my grandma was suggesting surgery, which was a route I did not want to go down. I knew, I had faith, I knew I could do it. I knew I could lose the weight, and I did. So, let's talk about the driving point that actually I got to, you know, the driving point of me making that change, and that was when I parted ways with my ex. And I'm just gonna use this example, I've said it a couple of times, but it was really that pain, that anger that I felt, that I just couldn't sleep at night. I just couldn't sleep and I had to do something about it because it was building up inside of me so strong. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, come on Ryan, you're better than this. I always had dreams, I always had that fight inside my heart to become better, to do something in my life. I looked in the mirror that one night and said, no, I've got to do something about this. I've got to put my foot down and not let my mind control me, but control my mind. So next day, I had to go to the gym. I felt like I had this raging ball of fire inside of me and I had to channel it in some direction. And the only way I knew how to do that was going to the gym. First it was the boxing gym. I always had a passion for boxing. I used to box quite a lot when I was in my late teens. And that was one thing I loved doing. So went to the boxing gym, started training non-stop, started eating healthy. And then decided to switch from boxing to the gym. I don't know why the gym, I never really used to go to the gym that much, but that's where the passion for the gym was born. That's where it was born. And ever since then, I loved it so much. I kept going. What I was doing, the way I was going about it, first of all, was I was doing like 1 meal a day. I used to fast all the time. I used to literally just drink coffee all day whilst I was at work. I wouldn't eat until gone noon, maybe 6, 7 p.m. I'd eat something, and then the next day repeat. I was still smoking back then, because I felt like that was a crutch I had to suppress me not eating, that stimulant. So doing that, I was training, eating 1 meal a day. But as you know, that's not sustainable. So I had to figure out something to make that sustainable. I needed to figure out a way on how I could keep losing weight, because at that point I've already lost maybe 30, 40 kilos. I was much better off than I was. And as you can imagine, a lot of that was just water weight and holding food, because we all know when you lose weight other size, that's when it goes the quickest. And then you start to plateau. And at the start it was fine. Like, I didn't really face much mental battle. I found it quite, not easy, not straightforward, but I had that pain, that anger to fuel me. That was my fuel to get to that stage. And then hit a bit of a plateau. And I had to switch things up. I'm like, okay, this 1 meal a day is not working, so let's introduce 2 meals a day. And then I was training, pushing myself with no direction really. I had no direction of where I was going. I just knew that I had to get this weight down. I got to that stage where I was actually quite happy with the way I looked, and I was quite happy with everything, I was happy with the way I looked, and that pain that you once had, I finally channeled that into happiness and positivity. So I kind of put my foot off the gas a bit, and then things started to get harder. The weight wasn't shifting so much, and I wasn't acknowledged enough to know what to do from that point on. But I still kept training, still kept dieting. But I got to a stage where I was eating really clean during the week, and on the weekend I was binging bad, and I just kept going in a cycle, like a yo-yo. I kept going in a cycle. I wasn't losing much. It was affecting me mentally because I didn't know what to, I didn't know how to go about it.